Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. So, I hope everybody's staying safe and, yeah, that sort of stuff. Amidst of all this craziness, which I intend will end very soon and life will go very much back to normal. So, yes, I am answering today your questions off of the Patreon group. I love doing this. So, that is very good. So we're going to start with Margot's question. I think that's how we say it. So it says, hello, Amanda. What is the best intention? I'm in a relationship with my specific person, or I intend to be in a relationship with my specific person. Excellent question to start things off with. Hi, I hope you're great too, Shan. So 1 minute in, and I'm answering the first question here, guys. Let me put 1 minute. 1 minute. I always put in there what time I answer you guys' questions, so that way, if you don't want to go through the whole hour video, I totally get it. So, what is the best intention? I'm in a relationship with my specific person, or I intend to be in a relationship with my specific person. They're both the same. It's still creating a picture in your mind of you being with that person. Okay, so the cool thing about our subconscious mind is it only sees in pictures. It actually doesn't have any concept of time. Okay. And it also, basically saying, I intend to be in a relationship with my SP. I still picture me and Andrew standing together. And when I say I am in a relationship with my SP, I still see me and Andrew standing together. They're both exactly the same. Now, I intend is used a lot of time because intend helps to kind of bypass that little voice of, yeah, right. So if I say I intend to be in a relationship with my specific person, it's like, okay, you know what? It's believable, plausible. But if I say I'm in a relationship with my specific person, then, sometimes we can have, yeah, right, come into our mind. So I intend and I am in one is completely up to you. They're both the same. It's just one is easier. It kind of bypasses the little voice in your head. I use I intend for everything, and everything comes true really quickly for me. So sometimes people use I am. I mean, it's really, and again, like I was mentioning, is that, our mind knows no concept of time. So even if you talk about something in the future tense, it'll still actually happen. You're not continually putting it in the future because your brain will create a picture of it and then it has to manifest. Just like if you actually relive an old situation, like an old, something that happened in the past, you'll actually recreate it to happen in the present moment. Because again, your subconscious mind knows no time. Okay. All it knows is you create a statement, it makes a picture in your head, and then boom, it takes that picture that's in your head and it reflects it out to your 3D world. Okay. So yeah, that's how our subconscious mind works a little bit. So once I understood that, that made life so much easier for me when it came to creating intentions and, not worrying so much about what they were. So Stephanie's question. So we are at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. So 3.25. So we've got here I am again. Hi, Stephanie, I'm here too. I really, truly want this apology. The one I have been working on for a year. The story about the person has changed. And when I think about it, I say, I am God. She wants to apologize. She has to apologize. She has no choice. I apologize for being on repeat. No, don't worry about it. But what do you think about my mental diet above? Pretty solid. This is the girl my man cheated with. I created, hands down. Thanks, Amanda. I appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Stephanie. No, I totally get it. And you don't need to apologize for trying to manifest an apology. So I like what you're saying there is, I am God. She wants to apologize. She is going to apologize. She has no choice. Okay. So one further step, and, you may have already gone there to this part, but everyone is you pushed out. Okay. So you get what you give. Okay. So if you're feeling apologetic and you want to apologize to them, they're going to apologize back to you. Okay. So you intend the apology from, I've already gotten the apology. Okay. So here's a really good example of this. Okay. So one day I was sitting here working away. It was like a Sunday, and Andrew went to go get pardon me, my nose, a cell phone at Costco, and he was there for 4 hours. And I was like, oh my goodness, he's been there a long time. I'm like, he's going to be in a bad mood when he gets home. And then sure enough, he was seriously in a bad mood. I was like, oh, how dare you, right? So I actually got upset. I came in here and I'm like, working away, right? And then I was like, I thought, and I was like, how dare he? I can't believe it. He should apologize to me. He has no right to treat me like that. I'm like, I can't even believe it. But then I was like, oh, I thought to myself, I was like, I remember like a half an hour ago, I was sitting here going, he's going to be in a bad mood when he gets home. I'm like, I totally created this. And as soon as I shifted into that, I no longer needed that apology from him. I was like, oh, you know what? I should apologize to him. I'm like, I'm the one that created this. So then I go out, into the living room and I see him, he's sitting there, right? And I'm like, sit down, right? And I'm like, hi, and then all of a sudden I hear a big sigh from him. And then all of a sudden he looks at me and he's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, no, I'm like, no, I'm sorry. He's like, you're sorry for what? He's like, I was the one. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, it's all good. Thank you. I'm like, no problem. I appreciate you. He's like, yeah, I appreciate you too. So what that story illustrates is if you're going to dig your heels in, then they're going to dig their heels in. So you come to a point where you're apologetic for creating it and intend that they're going to apologize and they will show up and apologize. But if we're going to come from a place of hurt and upset and need that apology to get us out of that feeling, then we're never going to get it because we're putting out hurt and upset. Okay. So there's going to be more to this mental diet than just what that statement is there. I mean, what's the apology for? Like, we've got to talk ourselves out of any feeling. So if you're actually coming from a neutral, natural position, okay, like I was when I realized that I was the one that created, that whole blow up, I was like, oh my goodness, I felt terrible. I was like, oh, I should go apologize to him. And I'm like, come on, Amanda, like, come on, mental diet here. I intend he's in a good mood. I intend, everyone gets over this, made myself feel better, intended to get the apology, got the apology. So my question is what emotional state are these intentions coming from? Because if they're coming from hurt, pain, and upset and anger, then any intention that they're going to apologize is just not even going to get through that barrier. Because if we have enough thoughts to create and manifest an emotion, especially one of hurt and upset and anger, then we're actually going to create more upset and more anger. Okay. So where are we coming from? And where we're coming from with the, intending the apologies got to come from neutral, natural, absent of any negative emotion. Okay. So you may want to talk yourself out of any of those emotions if you've been intending this for a while and it's not coming through. So, like I say, is nobody can mend your broken heart. You have to mend your broken heart first, and then the other person's going to come back. And how you do that is through intentions, your internal self-talk. Okay. So we've got 8 minutes here and we've got Shan's question and she said, hi, and here's your question. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to do your question now. And it's at, let's see here, 8 minutes and 12 seconds. So 8 minutes and 12 seconds is, okay. So hi, Amanda. Hope you're doing great. I am actually. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for all you do and what you do for humanity. I figure everyone's me pushed out. I created the mess. This is the least I can do to fix it. Right? So thanks. Lots of love to you too. So I wanted to ask if I don't feel like visualizing. I know I'm already married to my SP, and visualizing makes me feel that I'm trying to make this happen. But when I read Neville Goddard, he puts so much focus on visualization. What should I do? Will not visualizing stop fueling my desire to manifest? Oh, absolutely not. I have zero time to visualize. I don't. I have zero time. And actually, this ties into the first question that I had answered, is that our subconscious mind only sees in images and pictures. So every word that you say, you actually end up creating a visualization in your subconscious mind on its own. So if I was to say, don't think of a blue duck, you could visualize a blue duck, maybe a blue duck with a yellow bill, but you still visualize a duck. So every single word that you say actually creates an image and a visualization in your mind automatically. So honestly, all I do is intentions and just think positive throughout the day about things that I want. I rarely actually visualize. So if you want to visualize, great. But if you don't, it doesn't block anything. I've created many, many things without actually sitting down and visualizing. I get very busy. There's other things I'd rather do. I just don't have the time to visualize. And I found that I really don't need to, because what ended up happening was, way back, I would visualize, but then I'd have negative self-talk all day and nothing would manifest anyway. Okay. But if I actually didn't visualize, but just kept on a mental diet, things would manifest. And if I visualized and stuck on a mental diet, things would still manifest. So I was like, well, wait a minute. The only thing I need to actually do here is a mental diet. So as long as you've got positive self-talk and you're focusing and assuming that everything is working out for you and you are going to have what you want, and the other person does want to be with you, and all this, then you're on the right track. So living from the end is very much living from the end with your thoughts. Okay. So if I was already married to this person, what would my thoughts be? What would my actions be? Okay. So for instance, if they had like one word answers back on a text message, and if you had the relationship that you wanted, you wouldn't be thinking they were, rejecting you or not wanting to talk to you. Right. So you want to create assumptions that work in your favor and work towards what your actual goal is and live from that end. Okay. A really good example is when we manifest money. Okay. So if we're living from the end of being a billionaire, we wouldn't have money anxiety. And so then what we need to do is we need to change our self-talk so we don't have money anxiety. If you were a billionaire, what would your thoughts be about your, upcoming property tax payment? Oh, I can pay that, no problem. I got more than enough money. So, talking about it and coming from it with the thoughts that you've already got it is living from the end, not just visualizing. Okay. But again, every word you say actually creates an image in your subconscious mind. So, intentions actually do them both. So yeah, I'm living proof of that. Yeah, yes, you are here. Big heart back. 11:48 for Scarlett's question. Okay, so how quick will your manifestations come in terms of getting your SP back when you stick to a strict mental diet? Same thing with how fast would your story change if you stick to the new story? I guess same question, but you know, yeah, no, it is the same. But I get it. I get what you're saying. I mean, yes, I'm staying safe, so everyone else is too. Okay, so I've had manifestations come in like immediately. I've had them come in a week. I've had them, show up a month later, a month and a half later. The more power you put towards them, meaning the more intentions, the more thought, the more focus, the faster they are actually going to come. And the more intentions you do from a neutral, natural place, that's when things are going to show up. So absent of any negative emotion or reaction. Okay, so now, I mean, we recently just had a success story with Erica and Denise. Their client was doing coaching for 5 weeks and she completely got her ex back and turned it around. So it really just depends on the person. We've had clients that have done it in 2 weeks. So, I turned my situation, one of them around with my specific person in 5 days. So, but other times I've manifested him to say things instantly. So it takes about 2 weeks to 30 days to create a habit. Now how long it's going to take you depends on how long it takes you to believe the new story and how much focus you put towards it. Sure, at first you're going to have that little fight in your head, right? But I mean, the more you stick on it, the more evidence you gain of it and the more believable it becomes. So what we always say is to go out, test it for yourself. How long does it take you? I used to know somebody that would create that their intentions would take months to show up. And guess what? Their intentions would take months. So create things like this happens instantly. Things always happen for me very quickly. But still at the same time, the thing is, right, is it almost doesn't matter how long it takes to show up because if you want someone to be in a commitment with you, you have to say they want to have a commitment with you all the way up until the day you no longer want that commitment. So that thought and assumption and that intention doesn't stop once they commit to you. It stops the day that you decide that you want to end that relationship. So, it's done and it happens when you decide it's going to happen because you are the creator of your reality. See, you're not waiting for them to change their mind. You're waiting for you to shift into believing that that's what's happening. Okay. So the quicker that you shift to, yeah, you know what, this is happening. He wants a relationship. Oh, I can't believe I didn't see it sooner, sort of, feeling and, mood and state of mind, then they're going to shift. Okay. So how fast can you talk yourself into believing your intention is basically the question. And how long that takes you is completely, it's a little bit different for everybody. But I mean, people have changed things around in a matter of days before. Megan had a client that did it in 48 hours. I did it 5 days. She did it 48 hours. She's like, done, right? So, we always say just go out, keep doing it, keep practicing. Don't expect your intention, like, create it, it happens immediately, but don't give up if it doesn't. Keep trying, keep, creating all these little things and see how long it takes to come back. And then you can kind of gauge, okay, you know what? Like, yeah, this is about how I create, right? And then also create the things happen for you quickly. Okay. I got this 25. I love that username. Yeah. Aw, thank you. I intended, Shan, that it would be good. And Natalie, oh, awesome. I'm so glad you're here. So 1548 for 1548. So I've got this question. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. I am. I hope you guys are too. My question for the week is, what do you think are the best ways to utilize this time of quarantine to attract a specific person? I was just talking about this earlier with somebody. It was funny. I'm a big Reddit fan. I don't know. I'm always on Reddit. So I was looking at cat pictures and stuff. But anyways, and like just a bunch of different subreddits. Anyways, so there was this one, I can't remember which subreddit it was in, but basically it was like these two basically met on a rooftop, and like, he like got his drone and taped his phone number to it because they were yelling across at rooftops, and he put his phone number on a drone and he like droned it over to her, and then she took it. Then they started texting, and then they actually ended up having dinner together, but not together. They basically, she put a table, on her rooftop. He brought a table up, and they had their own dinners on their different rooftops, but they had FaceTime with each other. So they were like basically pretending they're sitting there eating there with each other. So that was really cool. And then anyways, it did end up going on a date, but to like be distant, he was like in one of those big, bubbles or whatever, which was actually quite funny. So my point is you can make whatever you want of the quarantine time. So some things I've heard people say is, look at, I'm going to use this time to work on myself. One thing that we've noticed is everyone in my neighborhood's getting in shape because a lot of us are doing walks around the block. But like, for instance, if you're looking to manifest a specific person, look at it from this point of view, that right now, intend that they're bored, they've got nothing to do, and you're bored, right? And then you just guys talk and start creating and building your relationship now over social media or over text message or over like, video chats. So especially for you guys that are like trying to manifest somebody back, or you're already dating someone and you're trying to go to the next level of commitment and you're not quarantined together, is to start to take this time to say, okay, well, if I had the relationship that I wanted and we were in separate locations, what would our thoughts and actions be? Okay, we spend time with each other on every night, we play online game together, and so stuff like this. So use the time to actually build the relationship, reach out to people and to them on social media, spend time playing, words with friends or something. So use the time to virtually connect like nothing's wrong, right? I mean, just the other day, I did like a video call with like my family. I was like, that's great. I thought it was lots of fun, right? So because we can't be together physically, we all were on a group call, and we were together virtually. So, and I'm actually planning that for like Thanksgiving, is to like, have um basically like a like the Easter dinner, and then like a video with like with my mom there or something, right? Like, so we can eat dinner together, right? But not, what I mean? So yeah, use it to, use the time to actually connect with people, and and not that it's hindering, but it's actually, helping your manifestation of other people. If you haven't found a specific person, then maybe start looking online and meeting people, right? So yeah, it can be a productive time. So, Foxy M, okay, I'm trying to manifest a relationship with my specific person, but also kind of want to manifest a relationship with a famous person. So, I guess I'm indecisive. Well, you can actually have them both if you want. Can I just intend they both will chase me and be crazy about me, and I can decide who I want then? Absolutely. Okay. So, that you would be living from the end of having these two guys chase you. Okay. So, that's the end that you want to live from. You don't really want to live from the end of being in a committed relationship with one of them, because that end is going to look a lot different than being this like, diva that these guys are like chasing after you and worshiping the ground that you walk on. So your end, living from your end, would be, you know what, I'm a guy magnet, and both these guys just chase me, and they're like doing anything to get with me. I get the choice of the guy that I want. Okay. So, yeah, no, absolutely, you can do that. And will it affect my back manifesting I did for either of them, like discount it all? No, 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 no. I mean, anything that you've already created with them, you know, will already be there. So, like, but I'm not even sure what would affect your back manifesting, because I mean, even if you wanted each of these guys in a relationship, your intentions would be they want to be with me, they want a relationship with me, they think I'm amazing, I'm good enough to have this. Those intentions would be in line with, basically having them both chase you or having them both want a relationship with you. I mean, the only thing that's different from you being from the end of a committed relationship with one of them, as opposed to both of them chasing you, is what your intentions are with what you want. Okay. So, you're just creating that you get to choose which one you want instead of declaring and intending that you know which one you want. But regardless of you deciding, choosing, or knowing which one you want, what you create them is totally different from that. So I have this one guy, I'm in a relationship, you guys know that. And this one guy, he like has been chasing me to this day. It's crazy. Like, and he's always like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, yeah, me and Andrew are fine. Like, stop texting me. I mean, the guy like chases me like crazy. Okay. I have no desire to be in a relationship with him whatsoever. And this has been a long time because I keep saying he keeps chasing me. So he's absolutely head over heels wants to be with me, and I don't want to be with him, but that doesn't stop him from chasing me. Okay, so look at this in two different things. Your story and what you want is separate. You can still create these guys to want you, whether you want them or not, or whether you do want them or not. Okay, I intend that makes sense. I definitely do. Jade's question. So 22:03 minutes. Oh, hi, Amanda. Can you talk more on manifesting in a specific time frame? Like, if I want to manifest a committed relationship with my specific person by the end of April, what would be the best way to go about it? I'm totally fine if it doesn't happen in that time frame. I just had a feeling that it would, and I want to be as proactive as possible. Thank you. You're the best. Okay, so you're the best too. Okay, so yeah, okay. So when it comes to manifesting things on a time frame, okay, first of all, never be discouraged if the time frame comes and goes, okay? But you want to start creating intentions. You know what? By the end of April, this is going to happen. We're going to be in a committed relationship. Or even better, start saying now, it's happening now. We're in a relationship now. Start making the assumption that you're in the relationship right now, because you're not waiting for the person to decide they want to be in a relationship with you. You're actually, waiting for yourself to believe that they want to be in a relationship with you. Okay. And you're just waiting for them to reflect it back. But there is no waiting, because as soon as you shift into, yeah, of course they want to be in a relationship, that's the minute they do. I remember there was this one guy that I wanted to be in a committed relationship with. And he said to me, he was like, well, I've got baggage. I had a bad relationship before. And he's like, I just don't want to do it again. And I don't want to be in a commitment and lose my freedom. And I was like, oh, I'm like, well, that sucks. Right. But then, you know what? I thought about it the next day, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I know I projected this on him. I said, but I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, nobody wants to live alone. I'm like, I've had bad relationships and I still want to get in a relationship. And like, I highly doubt that he wants to live alone until he's like 80 in his own house alone with like a bunch of cats and newspapers. I'm like, seriously, Amanda, like, you're not even giving this guy credit that he can like get over his past and, mend a broken heart. Like, you're basically projecting that this guy's like forever brokenhearted and like he just can't get it together. So I was like, oh my goodness. And like, I was just like, wow. I'm like, that's so like, I was just like, when I really sat down and thought about what I was projecting on him, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And that shift for me was instant. I was like, okay, no, no, of course he wants a relationship. Like, how could I even think this? So that's really what you want to get to, is you want to shift the entire story. Okay. So if you want it to happen by April, you're going to have to get on top of all your thoughts. You're going to have to get on top of all your assumptions, because it's not just one intention. It's shifting the entire story. I remember this one guy I wanted to move in with, and he didn't want to move in with me. Well, there was more than one block. One block was he had baggage. That one left. The next block was where were we going to live? But then I said, no, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. And then another block was we were going out and looking at condos together. And I was upset because he was saying they were for him and not me. So, of course, the whole time I was mad and grumbling. And as long as I was in that state with that feeling, I was blocking him wanting to live with me. And then as soon as I said, no, you know what? I'm the God of my reality. I'm going to pretend like we're going condo shopping together. Okay. I'm like, I don't care. Okay. And so then what I started doing was I started walking into those condos going, yeah, that closet would be great, pretending that I was buying the condo and we were going to live there together. And then as soon as I started doing that, pardon me, because that was the last story, that's the next day when things totally shifted and it showed up in my 3D reality. So I invite you to get down to all those stories because, the quicker you shift all those stories, it's going to happen. I don't know if you guys saw the video on Sunday, is that when she got to the point where she did her intention so much, she felt calm. She was like, no, this is going to happen. And then boom, it happened really fast. And it does. And it comes out of nowhere. It happens so fast, you almost question if you want it anymore. Because once you hit that last story, you know what? It's like, there goes. It's like, like opening, taking the drain out of the plug, just all the water. You're just like, wow, that was fast. Like, where did that come from? Right. So, but start saying it's happening now. It's happening right now. That this is definitely happening. And yeah, I create on deadlines all the time. But then if something doesn't show up, I just recreate it and move on. Right. So 26 minutes and 27 seconds. For Rachel's question. Oh, awesome. So, hi, Amanda. Can you talk about talking someone's situation off the pedestal in detail and how to ignore behavior when you're stuck in quarantine with them, doing it and thinking of all the worst outcomes and driving you nuts? I've reacted and asked him why twice and telling me he shouldn't be doing this, which he then done more of the behavior, obviously. But realize I'm just talking to a mirror because everyone is being pushed out. Is that going to impress on my subconscious mind now that I reacted and it showed up again? Update. Did I update it? Didn't react. Okay. I'm trying to be more non-reactive, but some things, upset me. Especially in these times when I'm cooped up with him, also trying to get him to play World of Warcraft less and less and do some, DIY jobs around the house need doing. I'm working all the time on creating new stories. Feels strange when 3D is opposing. I'm trying to remind myself that everyone is you pushed out, but it's hard as it seems so separate. Thank you. Okay. Yes, I think you've nailed it here. This is on a pedestal. Okay. I know your story, Rachel, so we won't go into details, but we need to take him off the pedestal and, the behavior off the pedestal. So, I'm good enough to have, him spend time with me. I'm good enough for him to do the DIYs around the house. Okay. I deserve to have, my husband, spend time with me and to put me first. Okay, so that's going to be a big part of this. Okay. The other thing is, what are you making, his behavior mean? Are you making it mean that you're not good enough somehow? Because, to stop reacting to stuff, if we basically say, okay, we're perfect, okay, and it's not us being rejected or us being treated, they're not treating us badly because there's something wrong with us and that's their behavior, then it's easy not to react anymore. Okay, so like a good example of that is, I remember when I first started dating Andrew, when he was hungry, he'd get in a little bit of a crabby mood. Then all of a sudden I would automatically take it personally and be like, what did I do? What did I do? What's wrong with me? Why are you upset? Right. And then when he told me one day, he's like, oh no, it's just because I'm hungry. I was like, okay. So then when he got upset because he was hungry, I no longer reacted. I was like, whatever, you're hungry, let's feed you. Right. Like no big deal. So, you want to see what you're making the behavior mean to stop reacting. Okay. But you want to focus on, basically that these DIY jobs. You also want to say things like, this is going to happen, we are going to do this, right? And you really want to let go of, holding on to this really I can tell you're holding on to this, the 3D is the opposite. You're resisting the 3D. You've got to stop resisting the 3D. You have to accept the 3D. And once you accept it and renounce it, then it's going to change. Okay. So we're putting a lot of resistance. We're like, I don't want this. 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 But instead, we have to be saying, I want this. I want this. I want this. I want this. Okay. And now, yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, when there's resistance, it's going to take, a good like 5 days of the opposite showing up and to avoid reacting. Okay. Like it just is. And that's just the way it is because our 3D reality is delayed. Okay. So your thoughts today, today what's showing up is your previous thoughts, right? But once you stop making the behavior mean such a big deal and start focusing on what you want, that's when it's going to shift. Okay. So it's not about, caring or not whether he changes. It's about, letting go, like, and not really caring if he doesn't change, just kind of relaxing and trusting that he is going to change. Okay. Now, with that being said, you want to start creating little things. Okay. So what little things can he do and say that'll start to get to that big picture? Okay. So is it just that, he starts, talking about the DIY jobs or, like what sort of actions and things that he's going to say that he can start to show that he is changing in the direction that you want. Okay. But you need to take this off a pedestal and you do that with self-love. I am good enough to have this. He is good, change. I deserve this. So when you talk yourself up on a pedestal, I can have what I want. I'm allowed to be happy. Everyone goes out of their way to make me happy. I always get what I want. When you talk yourself up like that, that automatically takes stuff off a pedestal. So like, for instance, when I was struggling way back with my health, I would say, I am good enough to get good health care. I am good enough to be in perfect health. Right. When I was looking at, say, manifesting a bunch of money, I'm like, yeah, I am good enough to be a billionaire. I am good enough to win that lottery, or manifesting, a boyfriend, when I am good enough for Andrew to think I'm amazing. I am good enough for him to want to be in a committed relationship with me. Okay. So that'll automatically take it off the pedestal. Okay. Vanessa's question, at 32 minutes, let's see here. So 32 minutes, I think it was 5 seconds. Amanda, my boyfriend and I are not quarantined together. Okay, that could be a good thing. Oh, there's been a few stories. Well, Andrew, you guys know, is a family law lawyer. Yeah, he's had a few things come across his desk, So, but anyways, but I can tell you want to be quarantined with him. So let's take a look at how we can do that. We could be, but we are not. I keep seeing these couples quarantined together and I'm wondering why we can't be. Oh no, you can be. It's your reality. Start creating. I intend that we are quarantined together. I want to be one of those couples that see each other every day or spend the weekend together often in the future. Recently, he also said that I invite myself over to his house, which I don't. So that has to be my block. Okay, well, what's wrong with inviting yourself over to his house? I do that. But are you making that mean that he doesn't want you there? I think that's what you're making that mean. So start intending that he wants you there. He always invites you over. He always wants you to come over. That he's joking and he was like, he's happy that you just invite yourself over. So you got to stop making the fact that he said, you just invite yourself over, as a bad thing, because it doesn't have to be. I'd be like, darn right I do. And you love it. Right. So let's do some self-love. I'm good enough to, to do what I want. I'm good enough to get what I want. Okay. I feel like we have a hard time being consistent and him opening up to me. I miss him telling me how beautiful I am. What affirmations can I do to change this? I would love to hear your take on this. We've been doing back and forth for 2 years. We also have a child together who's 6. So I would love to make this work. Even the relationship with our daughter is not as close as I would like. So what we need to do here is to really focus on your self-love. So you're good enough, you deserve, he does like you, he is close with you, he is close with your daughter. But I mean, you have to stop questioning what he's thinking. You've got to stop thinking that he's a separate person with his own thoughts because, obviously, you're thinking that he's not into you because, instead of him saying, I love it when you just invite yourself over to my place, I love it that you're always here, he's saying that you invite yourself over and you're taking it as a bad thing. So you've got to start assuming that it's a good thing and he does want to be with you. So a good way to do that is A, the self-love, take him off a pedestal, but then B, all right, start intending. This is what he thinks about me. This is what how he acts around me. This is what he says about me. And this is what he says to me. Okay. So start recreating who you think he is and start assuming that he wants to see you all the time. Okay. So change your story about him. Shan, another question from Shan. Okay, let's do it. Let's take a look. So 3509. 3509. All right. So 100% of the day, I feel good and amazing. That's awesome. But if something pops up relating to the current circumstances, I feel sad. But within 10, 15 minutes, I take myself out of it. What does it mean if I'm living in the end? Or does it mean I'm living in the end or there's still miles to go? Well, the thing is, right? Sure, depending. It's depending on what are the thoughts that you're having for that 5 to 10 minutes where you're, in that negative, where you're feeling sad, because those thoughts are creating as well. So sort of what'll happen is if you're sad, so you'll be blocking some of your intentions for sure, right? So you want to really get to the bottom of why you feel sad and talk yourself out of it and start catching it quicker. And a really good way to do that is to stop making the current circumstances mean rejection or mean something that makes you sad. Okay. So I don't know what the actual detailed story is, but you want to definitely talk yourself out of, those moments that you feel sad and, change the meaning of what the current circumstances are. But living from the end means if I already had what, I wanted, what would my thoughts be? Well, if you were in that committed relationship or married or were, you wouldn't be sad, you would be happy. So, when you are sad, you're living from the end of sadness. Okay. When you're feeling, good and amazing, then you're living from the end of whatever you're feeling good and amazing of, so yeah. So your emotions will tell you what you're feeling, what end you're living from, right? So 37.6 for SK's question. Oh, you're welcome for all the great advice. I intend that it is. Every question and every answer is so helpful. I know you guys have amazing questions. Some things manifest instantly for me too, and some things do not at all. No, everything eventually manifests. Right here, you have to say everything always manifests for me, okay? Like you can never give up on your intentions, okay? Often when I think of something in passing, it manifests almost instantly. Yes, I know, because you've had zero resistant thoughts to it. You were neutral, natural, you thought of it, it was just a whisper of a thought, and boom, there it was. I know, okay? So for example, I think of a friend, they call or text me right away. I think of something I need to do and someone else takes care of it without even asking me. These fleeting thoughts manifest frequently, nearly every day, and it's really fun and amazing. Yeah, and they've got zero resistance. That's why they do that. So, however, when I start deliberately making intentions to manifest something, it often doesn't happen at all. Okay, so we need to change that too. Pardon me, sorry. When I deliberately make intentions, they all manifest instantly. Okay. Or I get the opposite of what I want. I always get exactly what I intend. Okay. So, for example, I'm intending to find a new job. And not only have I not manifested the new job, my current job has gotten much worse. Okay. So, your reality is a direct reflection of your thoughts. Okay. So, there's no such thing as the opposite of your intentions because everything that you've manifested has been a thought that's manifested in your 3D world, whether you like it or not. Okay. So what's happening is we're giving up too quickly on our intentions. We can never give up on our intentions. As soon as you say, look, this isn't going to manifest, or I get the opposite, then, well, you are going to get the opposite. It's not going to manifest. So, when there's resistance, we have to persist. Okay. So yeah, you may look like you get the old thoughts still showing up. So when you say opposite, I'm going to assume that you're getting old manifestation, old manifestation, old manifestation. Now, why is your current job getting worse? Well, you're having conscious thought to make that happen at some point. Okay. So you're actually creating that. So probably because you're resisting it as well. So it sounds like the job is a resistance thing and you've got blocks. So resistance is, okay, look at, what, oh, I don't like my job. I want to get a new job. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to get that job. I don't think I'm qualified. All that was a story of living from the end of rejection and not getting the job, plus making the current job worse. Okay. So, or I intend that my SP does something and he doesn't do it at all. Why would setting deliberate intentions cause the opposite or nothing at all to happen? What am I doing that causes this? Okay, so we're not having a clean enough mental diet. I'm just going to be straight up. And these two things have probably resistance for you because one is money and one's a specific person. And those are very common to have resistance. So you have to keep on the deliberate intentions and you have to change the entire story. So ask yourself, are you annoyed at your current job? If you're annoyed at your current job, guess what? It is going to get worse. And you're probably not going to get that new job because you're putting out annoyance as far as money in your job goes. So guess what you're going to get back? More annoyance, okay? SP, same thing, okay? You have to keep persisting that he is going to do it. So you've also got to create some intentions now after what you wrote here saying, my SP always does what I intend, okay? Deliberate intentions always work for me. I always get exactly what I intend and it always happens quickly, okay? So yeah, you've got to focus a little bit more on that. But the reason why this is happening is because you've got resistance, okay? So that would be 40:55, 40.55 minutes. Okay. So we've got Allie's question. I need some advice on how to keep my emotions at bay when my manifestations have not happened yet. I'm trying to manifest someone out of my life and they just leave me and my daughter alone, but it currently hasn't happened. I try to mentally prepare myself when I get a message, but it never fails that when I get an email or text from this person, or even talk to someone talking to me about the person, I fall apart and cry and get really upset and emotional. Not because of the content of the emails from him are rude, but because he's threatening and trying to take my daughter away. How do I try not to give so much emotion to this? I have a hard time putting faith and trust because I have so much on the line. My daughter, and it's so hard not to get upset. I'm so sorry this is happening, Allie, for you. Basically, right, we've got to have faith in our intentions. So I'll be honest, like back like years ago when I would create an intention, I would have a little voice going, yeah, right, it's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. And then now, right, if I create an intention, no matter how outlandish it is, and then my brain's like, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. I'm like, no, it is going to happen because everyone's being pushed out. My thoughts create. And I know that I've got so much evidence done. My brain's like, okay, it's going to happen. Okay. So, that's what it sounds like in there. Right? So you want to create other things in your life, okay? You want to create, I've mentioned this before, so not to sound like a broken record, but the whole fried chicken thing, one day I manifested fried chicken showing up at my door, and that was enough for me to go, wow, this is working. And just that little tiny manifestation that really didn't make a difference helped me to get past my money block because I was like, oh my goodness. Like, so you want to go out and do everyone as you push out. You want to go out and do other little mini manifestations to build your faith and trust in yourself because it's about you trusting your intentions. I trust my intentions so much that I never question myself. I don't have to fight in my head anymore. It's just straight up, no, this is what I want. And then that's the end of the story. My brain doesn't even fight me over it anymore. It's like, yeah, okay, because I've got so much evidence, right? So that's what you want to do. Now, how do you not give so much emotion to this? Is you got to talk yourself out of it. You've got to get a hold of your thoughts. Say things like, you know what? I keep it together. I'm really strong for my daughter. We are going to be successful. I am going to get what I want. And then you've got to create a story for him. Okay. What's he going to do? When you have what you want, let's live from the end. The end is you and your daughter and he's gone to do something else. So start intending, you know what? He's gone. He's like living his life. He doesn't want anything to do with the family. He's actually found another family and he's doing his own thing and he's quite happy. And then you really want to focus on this is what, is happening now. Me and my daughter are together, and she, it's only us and, so you want to focus on what you actually want to create. But the biggest way to stop, reacting, and I mentioned it earlier in this, is to stop making it mean that there's something wrong with you. Okay. So basically, I don't know, I've never been in your situation, but, I would feel like, he's threatening to take my daughter away because I'm not good enough. I'm a terrible mom. Okay, so now I'm taking it personally and I'm going to be emotional. Okay, I don't know if that's your situation. I'm just assuming because that's pretty common. So, I would automatically feel like I'm not good enough. Okay, so you need to put yourself back on the pedestal. I am good enough. I can have what I want. Okay, I am a good parent. Okay, and my daughter deserves to be with me and only me. I deserve for him to leave us alone and for us to be just me and my daughter. Okay, I deserve for him to go find something else to do and to leave us alone. Okay, so you also want to talk yourself up, but I mean, part of the not reacting is stop taking it personally. Okay, you're creating the story, right? Because you're the creator of your reality. That he's coming after you to do this. You've got to ignore what he's saying and say, no, you know what? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfect. Okay, and that'll stop you from emotionally reacting, realizing that he's just saying what he's saying because you're creating him to be threatening and mean and rude. Okay, but that doesn't mean what he's saying is true. Okay, so once you stop taking what he's saying as believable and making it about you, it's going to be a lot easier not to react. Just like I said, when Andrew was getting hungry, he would get crabby, and what's wrong with me? Why is he upset at me? Why is he being crabby? But then as soon as I went, he told me, oh, it's because I'm hungry. I'm like, oh, it has nothing to do with me. I'm like, oh, okay, then like no big deal all of a sudden, right? So, look at it from his point of view and stop making it about you. Okay. It's his relationship with him, and it's not about you and anything to do with you as a person. Okay. And keep telling yourself that. Okay. And when you tell yourself that, then no longer are you going to react to what he's doing. But what you really need to do is focus on how you want your life to be once you have what you want, and also do some self love. I am good enough. I can have what I want. I deserve for him to leave me alone. I deserve for him to treat me with respect and to move on. That's a good one. I intend for him to be emotionally intelligent. Um, Definitely. And you do deserve it and you can have it, and it's totally possible. So 46 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, so we've got Amrani's question. Hey, Amanda. So last week we talked about triggers. We did. And that may be I somehow created some triggers on my parents, especially my nostrils. That's maybe why I get bigger nostrils day by day. You told me not to question it because it'll create blocks. We decided to make small goals. So I decided to stop those changes that happen on my appearance first before I reverse them how it used to be. So I made some intentions like these. I intend for my nostrils to stop growing. I intend for my nostrils to stop changing. I intend to notice that my nostrils stop growing. I intend to notice that my nostrils stop changing. What do you think these will be enough to stop my weird creation that affects me every day? Okay. Okay. What happens if it still continues? What then can I do? Is it better to find out how I created this weird manifestation, or is it better to stop it with general statements? Okay. You want to do general and specific. The problem with this creation is it's on play. It doesn't stop. Okay, so you've got to say, I can stop this. I can turn this around. My nostrils grow bigger every day without thinking of it, and that's why it depresses me. Okay, so we've got to change that. My nostrils go back to normal every day. Every day I look like I used to look, okay? I mean, on the one hand, I think, wow, my subconscious is that powerful. But on the other hand, I feel like I have no control. You know what? That's exactly what I was going to say. You have control over your subconscious mind. I mean, the story you just told here, it's just of defeat, and that, you know what, your nostrils are just going to do this on their own, and that your subconscious mind is creating things that you have no control over. That's not the case. Your conscious mind is the power over your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is subservient to your conscious mind. Okay. So you're consciously telling a story of defeat. So yeah, you said here it's going to change without even that you can't stop it. You're powerless. Okay, so you've got to take all this and change it. You've got to start changing the story into what you want, and you've got to read that new story like every time you look in the mirror. You got to say, no, you know what, my nostrils are getting smaller. It's funny, you guys seen on my channel, I'm sure, a few times where sometimes like I'll end up breaking out and then my skin will be clear again. Oh my God, I have to go back and forth, right? If I say I intend to have clear skin, I have a clear complexion. Okay. And then like a day later, it's just like miraculously, it's completely clear. But then, you know what, I'll be chatting with someone. I'm like, oh yeah, and I break out, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, boom, I break out. And then as soon as I look in the mirror and I'm like, I broke out. Then all of a sudden I break out more. So It's about just having faith in your intention. Okay, so you can change your appearance because you've already changed it to what you don't want. So now the story has to be, look at, my subconscious mind is going to listen to my conscious mind. My conscious mind is more powerful than any subliminals and anything else, and it's changing my body back. My subconscious mind has to obey my conscious thoughts. Okay, I have control over this. This is going to happen, and it's going to happen now. I am good enough to have my nostrils go back to the way that they used to be. Okay. So we've got to start creating that this is going to happen. Okay. So let's start there. Write out the new story and let's hear what the new story is. Like, I'm in control of my subconscious mind. I feel good about my body going back to the way it was. This depression that you're feeling is going to be a block. You've got to talk yourself out of it. And it's going to come with, I am powerful. Okay. I am powerful. You are the controller of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is not controlled by anybody else or anything. It's controlled by you, and it's controlled by your conscious thoughts. Okay. I intend to be in control. So 50 minutes and 24 seconds. So 15 minutes and 24 seconds is Courtney's question. Any tips on accepting, ignoring your current reality? On days that you just feel not so great, how do you disconnect that feeling from what you're manifesting? Well, it's just about not resisting the current reality and just about going, okay, well, it is what it is. I mean, let's put it this way, okay? Let's say, you're in a friends with benefits with Gerry, okay? Now, if you're looking at your current reality as rejection, meaning friends with benefits, then yeah, you have to ignore it. But how do you accept it? Well, easy. If you look at it and say, well, actually, you know what? It's really friends with benefits because he wants to be in a relationship with me. What's there to ignore now? Your assumption is that you're getting what you want, which is a relationship. So how do you accept your current reality? Is you change your perception on the current reality and assume it is what you want. And then there's no ignoring that has to be done. Now you're just living in the wish fulfilled. You're living in the assumption that you're getting what you want, and you're no longer resisting. If I say, oh, friends with benefits because Gerry's using me and he doesn't want a relationship. Okay, now I've got to ignore that. And that hurts, living from the end of rejection. But like I said, if I go with, no, friends with benefits because he wants to be in a relationship with me, now I'm accepting and I'm assuming I'm going to get what I want. Okay, so change the perception on what your situation is and change your assumptions of what your situation is. Okay, and make them in line with what your end goal is going to be. Okay. So we've got uh, Adasia. I think I said that right. I think I said that right. Let's take a look here. So Adasia's question. So that would be 5224. Okay. Okay. So how do you know, or how long does it take to make an intention a belief? I have been, let's see here. Okay, so how do you know, how do you know how long does it take to make an intention a belief? I mean, I don't know. I can 2 weeks, is how long it takes to rewire your brain. But I mean, if you don't shift the whole story, it may take longer. Okay. So, but then it's different for everybody. It depends how much belief, how much faith you have. And if you are having a fight with, even if law of attraction is even real, so it depends on where you are in your journey. Right. So I have been working on changing the relationship between myself and my specific person, and I've been stating my intentions multiple times a day and working on a mental diet. It's awesome. Mm. Initially, he would go days without contacting me, and I would be very upset and depressed. I started intending that he would contact me every day. Now he contacts me regularly, although there may be 1 or 2 days that we do not speak in a week. It has gone to the point where I no longer have an emotional reaction if we do not speak every day. Most of the time, I don't even have an emotional reaction if he contacts me. Does this lack of emotional reaction mean that I'm starting to believe my intentions? Absolutely. I mean, and all you do now is when he shows something that you don't like, you just renounce it, say the opposite of it, so it's like, well, no, I intend that you call me every day, yeah. So um so how can I make my full manifestation appear quicker? So having him see me every day, marriage proposal, marriage. This seems to be very slow process. Is there any way to speed this up? Well, it will be a quick process the more you put onto it. So I love it that you're not. Um, so are you still getting upset and depressed? If you are, you need to talk yourself out of it. But you know, if he's not seeing you every day, every time he doesn't see you, if you're not reacting good, then you just say, well, no, I intend for you to see me every day. We always talk every day. Every time you think about him, I intend for him to see me every day. I intend for him to talk to me every day. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that, you know what, he doesn't want to commit. So you're going to have to root out the story of why he doesn't want to commit. So, maybe it's baggage. I don't know if it's an ex, was there a fight? So you basically want to create, something that you say every time that you think about him. So, I intend for him to be ready for a relationship, and to see me every day because I'm good enough. Right. So you also want to create that this is good enough. He does want to be with you. And this is going to happen because that's going to be a big part of this as well. Right. So, yeah. Yeah. You really want to take a look at, you know, creating that what your opinion of him is. Okay, so what's the reason why he doesn't call you every day? Are you questioning what he thinks about you? We're gonna have to change that story about him as well, because guys, with all of you guys, the way that it goes with a manifesting somebody is you've got your story about them, your story about yourself, and what they want with you, like what's their intention, what they think about you. So all of that has to be in line with your end goal. Okay, so if you're living from the end of being in a relationship with this guy and married, then your story about him is going to have to be, this guy like loves me and will do anything for me. He loves me unconditionally. In fact, you know what? He's excited to see me every single day. And you've got to say that enough until it actually starts showing up in your 3D reality. So being neutral, natural is only half the battle. Now throw intentions, throw intentions, throw intentions. Throw out intentions on how you want him to feel, what you want him to say, what you want him to do. Okay. And if it's still not showing up, then what is the reason why he's not showing up every day? Is you got to ask yourself, is what other story is there that's blocking it? Okay. Because we create our stories. We're just really getting ourselves out of the way and going, nope, nope, 100%. This is what's happening. Because if you think he wants to see you every day and you think it's possible he can come over every day, then he will. If you think he wants to marry you, then he will. If you don't think he wants to, then he's not going to. Okay. So one thing I haven't mentioned in a while is, you want to find your blocks, write out your whole entire story, everything you think. What does he think? What has he said to you? Is he said that he's got baggage? He said he's never going to forgive you, whatever. And then, are you good enough? Da, da, da. What's your story about you? And then cross it all out and create positive intentions and read those intentions and incorporate them into your mental diet. Okay. Awesome, guys. I hope that helps. That was the end of the questions today. Those were really, really, really good questions. That was pretty awesome, actually. Oh, no, wait. Manali asked a question. Haha, I know you intended me to answer it. I hit refresh just in case. So 5749, because I didn't see a question from you either, so I knew I probably had to check. So 5749, Manali's question. So, hey, Amanda. What shall I do when I feel triggered by the circumstances by my specific person or related to my specific person? Okay, so to stop triggering yourself is, like I said earlier, is to live in the assumption of you are going to get what you want instead of, living from the end of rejection. Okay, so like I said, with our specific people, we have to live, from the end of, what they absolutely want to be with us. Even if they just call us and be like, yeah, I had toast for breakfast. Oh my goodness, that means he wants to marry me. Okay. We can't make, if they send us one word text messages, we have to go, oh my goodness, they want to be with us. Okay. So now I have a huge problem that whenever I get triggered, like he's talking to some chick, I do my intentions right there for self-love and SP related, but I don't feel that calmness from the inside, and just ask him whether or not he's talking in 3D itself. Only when he says no, I am not, I get calm, but then he further adds, please stop pushing me away. Yeah, because you know what? regardless of him talking to another person, what's bothering you is you're taking it as rejection and that he doesn't want to be with you. Okay. So let's change that story to he wants to be with me. He wants to be with me because what you're doing is you're saying in your head, he doesn't want to marry me. He doesn't want to commit to me. That's your intention. So he do, everyone's you pushed out. He starts thinking that. So he starts talking to another chick. And then you're verbally pushing him. They want to be with you and stop talking to other chicks. You're going to push him away. Okay. So and then he's very annoyed with your questions, and he has now stopped answering me any of my doubts or worries. Okay, because the thing is, right, is you have to change your story on the inside. Okay, if you believe that this guy wanted to be with you and you believed he was faithful and wanted to marry you, you would have no question. You wouldn't have to ask if he was talking to other people. You wouldn't have to say, why are you doing that? Okay, and that's what needs to be done here is you need to change your story in your own mind. And he needs to be the guy that you want him to be in your own mind, and then he'll show up. What you're trying to do is you're holding a story that he doesn't want to be with you and that, you can't trust him or whatever. And then you're verbally trying to get him to change. But you have to change who he is first. That's what we do with intentions. Okay. I intend that he wants to be with me. Okay. Like really, really, really seriously focus on that. Part of your self-love should be I feel like I'm good enough for him to want to be with me. He wants to be with me because I'm good enough. He wants to be in a committed relationship with me and only me because I'm good enough and I deserve it. Okay. So, part of your self-love is intending that he's going to give you what you want and you're good enough to have that. Okay. I'm also kind of a manipulator since an early age. Well, yeah, with the, I also belong to the field of legal studies. So yeah, I do manipulate things. Well, manipulating comes from I'm not getting what I want. Okay. So if you had the thought that he wanted to be with you and you were going to get what you want, then you don't need to manipulate things. Okay. So I have a tendency that things either go my way or the highway. Well, I mean, that's fine too. I mean, I've got lots of relationships that I didn't actually fix and I walked away from. We don't have to recreate things or people. It's a choice, right? So, either create it and think recreate in your mind that he does want to be with you, or you can walk away. I mean, it's not about being a doormat, right? So I get super annoyed both in 3D terms and manifesting terms when the things don't go my way. Well, it's 3D terms and manifesting terms are exactly the same. Okay. So what shows up in your 3D world is what was in your mind previously. Okay. So what's happening here is you're holding a thought that he doesn't want to commit to you and he's talking to other girls and then he actually does that. And then you take it out and act out on him to try to change him. But he's like, look you've been saying they're worrying all day about me not wanting to commit and worried I'm going to talk to other girls. So I heard you told me to do it. So now I'm out doing it. And now you're getting upset at me, right? So we got to change the thinking. Okay. And like I said, if you're thinking he wants to be with you and you're thinking he's faithful to you and is only going to pay attention to you, then there's nothing to manipulate. If you think you're going to get your own way, there's nothing to manipulate. Okay. So how is this behavior affecting my manifestation? I just went through it. It's pushing it away. It's not happening because you're not manifesting. Right now, you are manifesting. Right now, you're manifesting what you're worried about and your doubts. And you're manifesting basically that he doesn't want you because if he wanted you, even if he was talking to another girl, you'd look at him and be like, doesn't mean anything. He wants to be with me, and you would be secure. I trust him. He doesn't mean anything. You know what? And you know what? Then you can even take it a step further. He doesn't talk to any other girls. The only girl he talks to is me. Okay. So basically how this, manipulating is affecting your manifestation is you're living from the end of rejection and that you're not going to get what you want. And then you're in the 3D world, basically pushing everything away. Okay. Very destructive behavior because it's all coming from, I can't have what I want, so I have to manipulate it. So if you're coming from, I can have what I want and I always get what I want, then there's nothing to manipulate. Okay. So also these days, my SP is making fun of me and body shaming me. Aw, I'm chubby and overweight, but I like myself this way. You know what? I like myself this way too. But, intend that he likes you. So you've got some insecurities here. Okay. So intend that, he's into bigger women. Intend that he loves you the way you are. Intend that he always tells you that you turn him on. Okay. So I am every day doing self-love affirmations. If he is my mirror, then why is he showing me the exact opposite of what I'm affirming? Okay, again, there's a delay. Okay. And it's not just like you saying, I'm good enough, I feel good about myself. You've got to also affirm that he feels that way too. Okay. Because you've created him to basically be the opposite. Okay. So you got to create. I intend for him to tell me my body is beautiful. I intend for him to be totally into my size and weight. I intend for him to think bigger women are cuter. Okay. And there's lots of guys out there that totally think we're amazing, right? Did you know in the 1930s, okay, if like women our size, we were the actual models, okay, like because it was considered that we were healthy and quite rich family to actually be the size that we are, right? Like, hello, 1930s, like, come back, right? So, it hasn't always been that skinnier is better, you know what I mean? So, but then again, you know what? Loving yourself and doing your affirmations about you loving yourself, but you also have to create that he loves it and he loves you and he thinks you're beautiful. Okay. I literally get triggered by his fat shaming comments and I react a lot more of this as he was the last person on earth I would want to hear such comments from. I'm more of a teddy bear to him rather than his queen. Okay, so we need to start being his queen. So you really got to focus on recreating your thoughts in your mind of who he is. And you have to be patient because there's resistance. So you're going to have to create, okay, basically write out who he is, what he thinks about you, what he says to you. And you focus on that, okay? But the manipulating tells me right there that we're not keeping on top of our thoughts because we're immediately jumping to he's talking to other women because he doesn't want to be with me. And then we're going and we're like, hey, you know what? You've got to answer, stand, you got to, answer to my doubts and worries. But he's like, well, that's all coming from he doesn't want to be with me. So we've got to change our original thought and we've got to stop manipulating the situation in a 3D because if we really believed and, we're creating and holding the story and the intentions that he wanted to be with you and that you were his queen, then you would have no reason to manipulate the situation. Okay. So focus on this new story about what he thinks about you and also add in your self-love that, you know what, he does think I'm amazing. He tells me I'm beautiful. Okay. Because obviously you've created him saying these things to you about your weight. Okay. So, how did you create that? I'm not sure. But you know what? If it's showing up, you just start changing and renouncing it to the opposite. I intend that he always says nice things to me. I intend that he thinks I'm beautiful the size that I am. Okay. So a big part of this is creating and intending that people treat you the way that you want to be treated and then intending that you're good enough to have that. So, the self-love is going to take him off the pedestal, but you still got to intend, what you want to see from him because it looks like there's some old story still programmed here. Awesome, guys. You guys are all absolutely amazing. It's been awesome. Yeah. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week. And yeah, everybody, totally. Yeah, Manelli, I got your questions. See, I didn't even read that. I was like, I know there's going to be a question. Anyways, yeah. Oh, I'm so happy to see you guys all here, and we'll see you next week. And yeah, you guys stay safe, enjoy yourselves, and you know what? Start, building and creating your relationships and coming up with some creative ways to spend time together, I mean, why not make the best of it? Anyways, we'll see you guys all next week. Bye bye.